Team Liquid as a squad should be holding their heads very high. I mean, these 3 rookies, along with the 2 veterans, performing as well as they did.
Losses and wins don't really affect me. I just take every game as seriously as possible.
Immortals tilted after realizing they had misread the meta and trusted in their strengths, which were relics of the previous patches. This needs to be a wake-up call.
Right now, our team is pretty down, but we're just gonna try to work on for the 3rd place.
It's probably a surprise to the community that we're playing against Immortals, but to me personally, based on scrim results, no, not a surprise. Reignover dictates a lot of what they do, and if he has little to no game impact, they kind of collapse.
Jungle is kind of like carry jungle meta, which is really good for Dart. Their playstyle really fits the meta right now.
Always the end goal is worlds, right? And if you're 3rd place and you get more points than 4th place, after we identify what we did wrong and fix it, I think we can win.
They're completely overhyped and overrated.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Championship Weekend of the North American LCS Spring Split. We're coming to you live from the Mandalay Bay Event Center on the Las Vegas Strip, where fans have packed the arena to cheer on our finalists in their quest for victory. As you can see, there's no shortage of hype in the building, and quite a sweet setup as we are in the round yet again. Earlier in the day, though, fans gathered to show their support for today's teams. Again, lots of energy in the building. Immortals arrived earlier to the venue to prep for their match, walking down the tunnel backstage, and they're going to be going up against Liquid, who entered the arena a short time ago to run through their pre-game checks. Now the players are just about ready. They've done all the checks and preps that they can do, and we're excited to see what they'll bring to the Rift. Thank you for joining us on this epic occasion. I'm James Dash Patterson, and joining me on the analyst desk for this 3rd place match is Joshua Jat Leesman in the center, Sam Kobe Hartman Kensler right to my left, and David Freak Turley down at the end. Gentlemen, how's Vegas been treating you so far?
Great. Wonderfully.
I'm happy to be here.
And that energy in the building, man, that only serves to help us out here on the desk. Before we get into the match at hand, though, let's take a look back and see what led our teams to this moment. Team Liquid, they beat out Energy Esports in the quarterfinal round, but was knocked out in the semifinals by defending champions CounterLogic Gaming after an intense 5-game series. On the other side of the bracket, TSM defeated Cloud9 to move on to the semifinals, where they defeated 1st seed Immortals in a surprising 3-0 sweep. Now, despite missing a chance at the Spring Split Finals, both Liquid and Immortals have made it clear they have aspirations for the World Championship. And today, 50 championship points are on the line. Very, very important. So without further ado, let's dive right into today's match. It's a battle for 3rd place between Liquid and Immortals. Now, both teams are coming off a loss, so preparation and mental fortitude will be paramount in this series.
Exactly, Dash. And I mean, one of these teams, they're going to be feeling disappointed. That's Immortals. They were 17-1 and expecting to cruise all the way to MSI. That's impossible now. Whereas Team Liquid felt very upbeat after their 5-game series loss to COG. So I think depending on how well Immortals can recover from that 3-0 defeat, that's the biggest mental game they're going to have to play, because they have to be as confident as Team Liquid coming into this one.
Confidence is something that Team Liquid have never been short on, as you see in all of the intros.
And you can even see the fact that they've had to run in with 3 rookies, 3 new guys who actually played quite well in their semifinal, now can continue to play well in the 3rd place match against Immortals, a team that have literally never won a playoff game now. They did great in the regular season, but now the stakes get higher, and I actually wonder what caliber of a team Immortals really is when the stakes do go up.
Yeah, Freak, talk to me a little bit about some of the missteps that Immortals made to end up in this position. Particularly, I mean, we heard in the intros, Irene talk a little bit about misreading the meta.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. We've had, I think there's been a lot of people discussing how Immortals played their semifinal game against TSM. And the primary culprit people seem to point to is, why the hell are they still playing carry top laners? Everyone's playing top tanks. Don't you know that top tanks is the thing? And Pobelter in his interview after the series says, look, it's one of 2 things. We were either right and we misplayed and our champions were correct, or we were totally wrong, we shouldn't have played those things. And the funny thing is, the best game Immortals even had in the semis was Lucian top. That was their best game in the postseason.
And I actually think that Immortals can't make drastic changes in the next week. So if they're coming into this one, I kind of expect, maybe Huni plays Echo. That will be their one tweak. But the rest of it, Graves top lane, Maybe he pulls out the tank Caston he's been playing in solo queue. I still think Immortals is going to continue to try and innovate and play their own style of League of Legends, and I think that's the only way they can win this.
Yeah, and Kobe, in that meta conversation, when you look at the flip side of things in Team Liquid, a lot of people would say, but this is prime time for
So
them.
yeah, you look at Immortals and you're like, oh, Huni loves playing top lane carries. Reignover loves playing these tank junglers. It's the complete opposite right now, where everything fits Team Liquid. Dardoch loves playing carry junglers. He's this very aggressive guy. He has a very big ego. Those types of junglers where you get in their face and go invade are very strong right now. Fits him perfectly. I just think the team comp that is overall really strong in the meta right now, where you just build a very standard team fight of your main tank in the top lane, your off tank as a support, consistent damage dealers from your mid and AD carry. Those are the role players that Team Liquid have. They have the perfect players for this, with Phoenix and Piglet both having great lane numbers as well as DPS numbers for their team fights. And then Lorlo, even though everyone's going to point to this top lane matchup and say the biggest advantage for Immortals is Huni in the top lane over Lorlo, as his regular season numbers were not very good, he spent all of his time focused on training top lane tanks. And since top lane tank champions and itemization are both very efficient right now, that can even out a lot of that imbalance.
Works out really well for them as far as patches go.
We just saw a lot of tank play over in Europe. We'll
Everywhere,
see.
really.
Yeah, exactly. And it's true. Across all regions, but that Echo, the Maokai, the Poppy, the Trundle, all going to be interesting to see how those fall in the meta through this champion select. Now, outside of the top lane, though, I want to talk about some other matchups that could be interesting to consider between these two teams. Let's start in the bot lane. Two of the best performing ADCs through the spring split going up against each other here.
Yeah, it's funny because these two players, their stat lines look almost identical. Okay, KD is up by 1, but the rest of these are within a couple percentage of each other. And what's funny is Piglet did this with a team that lost a hell of a lot more games, right? It's so easy to be an AD carry on a 17-1 team. If you don't lose, you're the safe guy in the backline getting all the damage. And if you looked at other stats like total kills or total damage per second, it would be higher for Turtle. But Piglet's still putting up very comparable numbers despite being on a more losing team.
And that really highlights my point about the consistent DPS backline for this team. Piglet is all about positioning, and he doesn't take those big risks, so you're not going to lose that damage early on in your team fight.
And that's the big difference in this matchup, right? Like, Wild Turtle's going to be the one that takes a lot more risks, so to speak. You would almost expect Wild Turtle would be more likely to stand in front of two people teleporting towards him. But at the same time, that was a crazy play, and that's why Team Liquid is in this series, is because Piglet stood in front of the double teleport. But matchup specifically wise, I do give the edge to Piglet here because of the numbers thing Freak mentioned and because he's just so goddamn consistent.
All right, let's flip to the other side of that meta conversation coin. Let's go to the jungle. Rumble in the jungle, where we've got the spring split MVP in Reignover going up against the rookie of the split in Dardoch. So, I mean, there's a lot riding on this match.
Oh, yeah.
And I love this jungle matchup because they're so different as junglers, but they have both had a lot of success. Reignover, as I said, loves these tank champions. He always has. And you can see this by when people really focus the junglers in picks and bans in the draft phase. What comes out from Reignover are the Sejuani and the Olaf picks. Like, that's because he loves playing these tank junglers, whereas Dardoch, the complete opposite. No, he's that NA Lee Sin. Very, very clean execution, though, on his aggressive jungler.
Yeah, and I think right now the confidence would be in the side of Dardoch, right? Coming in his rookie split, he really looked up to Reignover. The first time he played him in the LCS, he got smashed by Reignover. But now we look at what happened in the semifinals, and Reignover's team Immortals banned Kindred all 3 games against Team Solomid. Dardoch can play that. Will Reignover's champion pool and comfort match his inherent skill? Because it's that inherent game of catch-up, or whether Reignover just goes and plays his core champions, even though they might not be optimal.
All right, well, as we approach the apex of the spring split, we want to look back at some of the incredible moments of the 2016 season so far. Memories are made from unforgettable victories, and sometimes it's just a flashy play. But what we're looking for today are those moments with the greatest impact. Tweet us at LOL Esports with your favorite game-changing moment, and we'll check out your responses and review some of your choices at the end of the show. Now it's time to head over to the caster desk, though, and get this series underway. As we go, Dardoch shares what he expects from Immortals in this series.
From what it seems, Reignover dictates a lot of what they do, and if he has little to no game impact, they kind of collapse because they have generally weak laners in mid and bottom. Like, they normally just put Pobelter on, like, he's like an enabler for Huni, and their bot lane just loses. Like, their bot lane has like a really one-dimensional play style to where they'll put like Turtle on a self-sufficient AD, and Adrian will be on like a supported, like a really supportive, like whether it's Soraka or Janna, like, you know, the meme or whatever. Like, he only has 2 champions, but yeah, that's generally their draft, and they haven't done much outside of that draft, so that's what we can expect, I guess.
Strong words out of Dardoch, and hopefully he can back those words up when he gets onto the riff. Hello, everybody. I'm moving to Biz in the third with Isaac, Azael, Cummings, Bentley, and Aiden, Cyrene Moon. We're going to get right into the game. Let's check out the starting lineups. On the blue side, it is going to be Immortals. That means coming out of the top lane with his aggression, it is going to be Huni. Huni in the jungle controlling. It's going to be Rainover. The man in the mid lane, as always for Immortals, Pole Belter. And the bot lane duo is Wild Turtle and Adrian, with Coach Dylan behind him as always.
And on the red side, it's Liquid. In the top lane, Lorlo. In the jungle, rookie of the split, Dardoch. In mid lane, Phoenix. AD carry, Piglet. Support, Matt. And Coach Loco Doco.
And as the player said coming in here, they didn't expect to be facing this matchup. A lot of the fans didn't expect to be seeing this matchup, but it's happening.
Yeah, actually in the pregame lobby, Adrian said, this is the finals that should have been.
Yeah. Yep.
They were all expecting it to actually be that. They were scrimming across the bracket, across seeing what each other were actually running in scrims. So this is actually going to be a hard matchup because they know what the other one is going to run, right? Because you scrim across the bracket when you're in the semifinals.
So as we get to Champions Select, the obvious question, or the obvious thing to look for here is there a change in what Immortals have started to bring to the table?
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's really the question on everyone's mind. A big question mark, is always, where's the Echo, right?
Yeah.
And, where was the Echo?
It's going to be in pick ban today.
Yeah, I think the bans are going to be Kindred, Poppy, Azir, Soraka, Gangplank.
You cheated.
No, oh no,
You're wrong.
Azir's going to be left up here. They actually had banned Azir in many of their previous games. I'm actually going to go look at it here. And it had been in the last 5 games, Immortals had banned Azir. So they're going to leave it up this game. And the other ban here would be Ryze that you would think would come out from the side of TL. And there it is. So I got 5 out of the 6 right in my prep.
Sometimes we saw that Azir being left up towards the end of the season with the Vel'Koz, but that was more if you had the time to practice it. A lot of teams were in those extended scrim blocks trying to just do regular basics down, so they could come into these games quite strong. We are through the bans, now onto picks. The Azir is actually going to be for Immortals.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say, is this is something, I've seen Popelter play this champion, and it's obviously something that is going to be a highly contested pick. If you can take it away, you don't have to ban it. It gives a lot more flexibility to your pick ban stage.
Exactly, and you assume with Phoenix on the field, you cannot leave Azir up.
Yeah.
So I really like the Echo pick. Even though Huni did not take it in the previous series, this is kind of the adaptation. Jat was even saying this should be the one adaptation that's an easy one for Huni to make. Now, Lorlo taking that away is going to relegate Huni either to something out of the meta or something that is more supportive style, like your Maokai, like your Poppy.
Exactly, but you have to assume that because Immortals didn't ban Azir and left the Nidalee as that ban, they could have first picked Echo if they wanted to. They could have picked that up.
True.
So they might have something in store for that top lane Echo, and they're waiting because it could be flexed to the mid lane as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I was going to say the one thing that people had been talking about Huni playing had been the tank facet, and this is something that, if we know, TL knows.
Yep.
So they may even be wanting to look to try to take this away, but Malzahar is actually a pretty strong pick against the Azir, I know mid lane, but we'll see if he is going to just try to go something more for a lane, or if he's going to play a little bit safer.
Yeah, you could play the Echo into the Azir, but we are going to see, once again, Matt's Bard. He played it in Game 5 as well. It had a lot of great ultimates in the first half of the game. The second half, not so much. And that's the thing I'm looking for here from TL. They have 3 rookies on this squad. They seem to have some nerves in front of 300 people at the LCS stage. Now they're in front of 7,000.
I'd also say, to be fair to Matt, there was so much pressure on him to be the one to initiate. His team did not have much initiation that game. It was basically on him to get the picks. Now they do have the Echo, so they do have something to fall back on, and we see Gragas and Janna picked up.
It's Gragas top for Huni. So this is a little bit of a different change for him here. And the thing is, Huni has been playing a lot of tanks. I actually checked his solo queue. He actually plays a ton of Poppy. Poppy is his highest win rate, most played champion on one of his accounts. The guy can play tanks. It's just Immortals haven't gone to that style because they've always needed a big damage threat. And since they have the Azir, it's 100% okay.
Both teams locked in. That Graves is locked in. Just seeing the blinking pick is a spectator visual bug. So
and that last pick is going to be
comps are
fantastic. So Phoenix is definitely going, for a heavy laning style. He wants to be able to pressure out the Azir. He wants to be able to go for the solo kills and try to bully out Popelter. And Phoenix is known for his Azir. He knows the weaknesses.
Exactly.
And one thing I'm thinking here is, how often has Pobelter been that first priority pick where he gets the big champion that's kind of going to be that pivotal point that can change the game around? Greg still works that way. Hooney's still a guy who is very aggressive and makes the game his own. But we don't see Pobelter getting that first pick very often.
Exactly. That's why when you think about Immortals, you think about these top lane carries from Hooney. Yeah. He's not on that now. He's on a tank that's going to be peeling for his team. And then they're putting a lot on Wild Turtle and Pobelter's shoulders. But Adrian does have Janna again. He can peel for this team, and he can keep them alive and allow them to do that damage.
One thing I will say, although Greg isn't that DPS carry, he is a playmaker. This is something that Hooney can go big on. He can carry the team. He can make those explosive engages, the flash body slams, the beautiful ultimates, and we'll see if he's gonna be able to make it.
Get a little more dangerous than you are. So only one team can walk away with third place at 50 championship points. It's gonna be nice. So let us know who you think it is going to be. Show your support by tweeting at LOL Esports with the hashtag IMTWin or the hashtag TLWin. And as always, we'll check in with your votes throughout the game and tally those up to see who you are voting for. Obviously, change it throughout. Things are going to go back and forth. You may love, you may hate. That's what we love. It's esports, and we're going to be getting into the third place match right now. It is Immortals versus Team Liquid here at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. And ladies and gentlemen, we are on the Rift.
And already a pretty interesting little pickup here. Phoenix actually going to start Dark Seal, which is not something that you see very often. Dark Seal has been kind of making its way into the meta, but in combination with the Corrupting Flask on Echo, and it's not something that you really see. So he's really looking to snowball this, perhaps, and we'll see if he's able to do it.
Yeah, you typically see the Corrupting Potion start, and then the Dark Seal second, which may be what Lorlo goes for here, but Phoenix, I don't think he's actually going to pick up a Corrupting Potion after this. I think that this is an item that he's going to try to get some stacks on. And it's not that disrespect item like the Magi's was before. It's actually a very efficient item, and you only have to use like 3 potions to actually get the same amount of HP out of it as you would a Doran's Ring.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, obviously you do lose out on some mana regen and stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him pick up a Doran's Ring or two early as well, especially if he is going to be trying to really bully hard, because picking up those early Dorans can be very big.
So playmakers for both mid laners coming out here as well as top. There's actually just a whole lot of damage coming in from both teams. Love seeing this coming out in the first game here. It means both teams want to show that aggro, and they're not just going to sit on their heels and wait for the action. Already setting up a little bit of a death brush. Immortals looks to get an advantage here with a little bit of a late invade.
Yeah, it's a late invade, but they do see them, so TL are going to be able to back off. They're going to be able to hide because now they know it is a lane swap from Immortals. And they actually spot Dardoch there for just a second.
And Matt is going to be pretty annoying. Ooh, nice binding, and the Wraith is actually going to reset there. So, one thing I will say, though, I think Immortals is going to be pretty happy to have avoided the 2v2 because that's really TL's biggest strength. I think that, Piglet and Matt are absolutely crushing bot lane. Their stats in the 2v2 matchups completely back that up.
Oh, they're the best.
They're absolutely the best. So this is definitely, I think, what Immortals was looking for, is to avoid that 2v2 lane, and having done so, they're going to be pretty happy.
Yeah, Janna, big bully lane alongside the Bard, so they even got a matchup that is very favorable for them.
It is a lane they can usually rely on. Piglet, one of the champions or one of the players rather, they'll put a champion on and try to focus that throughout a game. Not many AD carries left in the NALCS that a team will do that for. Here, swapped on both sides, so the turrets are going to be going down as we get the keystones up. Should be quite an interesting game. Heal for Pobelter, Ignite for Phoenix, and getting close to that kill range.
And the more I look at this Azir, I'm thinking, because Pobelter, he's actually doing a pretty good job so far. He's getting bullied out, though, by LeBlanc. But Immortals had banned Azir in their last 5 games.
Right, you're saying.
So that usually signals that Pobelter is not as confident on it, or they don't want to play around it, or he doesn't have the counters prepared adequately.
Right.
So I want to see what ends up happening in this series, because it's probably going to be banned on red side. They might have to drop the Nidalee ban, but right now I want to see how he actually performs on this champion.
Yeah, a lot of pressure is on him to do well on it. I mean, he's playing against the guy who's famous for this champion.
Yeah.
And, he blind picked it into that. So Phoenix had the last pick, and taking the Ignite, taking the LeBlanc, it's a champion where you kind of have to snowball because, late game, Azir is a monster.
Oh, yeah.
And LeBlanc has to get something done early.
And we heard from Rainover, right? Dardoch loves this meta. It is the aggressive jungler meta. Take the Nidalee away, then say we can get that Azir away from Phoenix if we take it. We'll see if that backfires on him by blind picking it.
Yeah, and you were talking about Dardoch. he had a lot of respect for Reignover coming into the season.
Yeah.
But he said in multiple interviews now that he actually thinks Reignover's a little outdated with the tanks. He thinks that the carry jungle style is heavily favorable, and he thinks he has the edge in this matchup. And as a rookie, he used to respect him, and now he's back to calling him game over.
Difficult.
Yeah, well,
hey, you got to back it up though.
Yeah. We'll see if he can.
If Dardoch has been anything, he's been confident no matter what.
Before he even knew the matchup, he said the team is smashed, right? And during the interview back at the NALCS studio. So he definitely does get that confidence right out there for everyone to see.
Yep.
5 minutes in on this one, top lane being pushed in here by TL, and we see Echo, or rather Lorlo is going to join them.
Yeah, Lorlo also picked up the combination, Corrupting Potion into Dark Seal.
Yep.
And the Dark Seal is fantastic. Not everybody makes it over the wall. The Dark Seal combination here is fantastic because on Echo, especially Tank Echo, it's very hard to kill you, but this makes it even harder. His AP ratios were actually buffed up to compensate and try to get him away from the tank build back when he was Jungle Echo. And now he has, I believe, 130% AP ratio on his shield. So if you start getting that Dark Seal out of control, and you may even upgrade it to a Magi's if you're snowballing, you get like a 300 extra shield just from that one item.
Yeah, one thing to say though, if you do go all in on that Magi's, even if you are snowballing, you get a lot of stacks, you lose 10 every time you die, so that can go away.
It's very hard to die as Tank Echo though. You got the ulti.
Yeah. But in the mid lane, Phoenix has picked up double Doran's Ring to follow up that Dark Seal, so definitely going to be looking to really get aggressive here on Pobelter, and Pobelter is going to just want to kind of play it safe, farm up. There's not really pressure on him to get anything done.
I mean, right now they're kind of just relaxed, a little R&R for the 80 carries here on the calls, switching sides, both lanes, turrets are now going down, so it's pretty much a gentleman's agreement here in the early start of the game, and I think there may just kind of be that scared feeling for both teams to break that momentum, right? Everything's even, don't be the first one to break it unless it's a fight we know we can win, because if you do fall behind right now, it's going to be very far in the early game.
Yeah, not too surprised to see Negatron picked up here by Pobelter. I think it's really smart against an AP assassin like LeBlanc. And he just wants to play it safe. He has enough mana regen with the double Dorans. Now you build into Abyssal, and you hope to deny the assassination attempts.
Yeah, and we're seeing 3 Dark Seals this game. Huni picked up one himself. Reignover Dardoch, though. I mean, he's got Rift Herald buff, too, so he's actually quite fast.
Woo! Chain off to the side there, Sun in Phoenix's eyes. What we just saw, the first bit of actual jungler aggression. Dardoch and Reignover seeing each other really for the first time, but it's backed off. Immortals just going to stay topside here and keep pushing the lane.
Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised that Dardoch didn't fight that. First off, he had the back, and he had Longsword and Smite and Boots over Reignover, because Reignover hasn't backed yet. And then he also had the Rift Herald buff. Despite the Elise throwing everything on him, he seemed to be actually in an okay spot still.
So taking stock of things, 29-15 on Lorlo CS. So Huni definitely up in that, 53-48. So Pobelter now with getting those Doran's rings, as you were mentioning, and the Negatron cloak able to kind of just sit in front of Phoenix. Nice parallel convergence. This is definitely going to get messy for Immortals, but I don't think anybody should go down here.
Phoenix roamed first.
Oh, Huni, definitely a big mistake there. A very good eye, guys, and it looks like he will be first blood. Reignover's forced to leave in behind.
And that's huge. I mean, smart by Huni not to blow the flash after he did, kind of whiff on that body slam, but he didn't actually see the minion behind him, and the minion does block the body slam. He got no distance, and he's just going to get chased down for an easy first blood. And, you talked about that CS advantage for Huni. Look at it now. Lorlo picks up the assist. He's tied on farm, and that's right back in the favor of TL, especially Dardoch, talking about wanting to get aggressive, picking up first blood. Big deal.
Yeah, and also the fact that Phoenix is roaming up here first, so even if Huni does get away, you have so much chase down potential. Dardoch already has boots, he already has the Rift Herald buff on him, and Huni gets stopped by that, but you can see how fast Dardoch is as on this Graves. Like, it would be almost impossible for Huni to get away. The fact that he was that far up in the first place without adequate ward coverage in the jungle, and also having Pobelter play to that side, because he's pressured by Phoenix, is a big mistake in and of itself.
I mean, it's a lot of disrespect, right? And also, not moving at all when you hear the parallel conversions come down. They both got double stun. Had that fight started with a cocoon from Reignover or something, obviously it looks a lot different.
That's pretty interesting. Looking at Dardoch's Rift Herald, it made that minion bigger that we saw Huni actually body slam into. So it kind of just got right in his way. Interesting interaction there. So coming up on 9 minutes in here, Matt has been living in this side of the jungle, making sure he knows when everything's coming up, when everything's going down, And he's even got a little help from Dardoch this time, so it looks like they are absolutely trying to deny Reignover in this game.
Exactly, and what happened in the TSM versus Immortals set is Svenskeren kept going into the jungle as Graves against Reignover, and Dardoch's trying to do the same.
He may have overstayed his welcome, though.
Oh, Magical Journey. Oh, Lorlo going in. Piglet and Lorlo go in. Dardoch and Matt have committed to going out. They're forced to run back around. Lorlo, very tanky in this one with the chrono break, but he cannot stay long enough. That's going to be Matt possibly.
Oh, ultimate from Huni.
From Reignover, or Huni, yes, thank you. Reignover almost dies, was what I wanted to say. And they get out alive on that one, only losing Adrian. What a fight, and Huni to come in at the last second.
That was a big overextension there from TL. I mean, yes, great. Dardoch wants to get in there. He wants to steal away the red buff. He has the advantage, but Piglet did not collapse. Wild Turtle did. And you'll see that Immortals just moves faster. And when Lorlo goes in here, you know, he doesn't have any damage that he's building, right? Dardoch is already out of there, and Lorlo's ulting back in. He's committing, and this was a big mistake. Matt tries to follow up and help him, and it's all going to go bad, especially really nice ultimate here from Huni.
Yeah, so what ended up happening on the top side of that fight is Phoenix is actually trying to roam to it. Huni's TP is between Phoenix and the fight, so Phoenix has to walk around, so he can't take that direct route in. So the call from TL was most likely Phoenix is on his way to blow these guys up, keep fighting, but the TP actually headed him off.
Great heal save from Turtle as well, making that one in favor of Immortals. And this is where they get an early lead here in the game. Up by 1,000 now. See how they stretch this one. Matt still trying to be a nuisance in this side of the jungle.
Oh, didn't stun.
He's still in trouble, though.
Should be able to get this kill. You can see the old Sworn just on the other side.
Oh!
Turtle was going to let him die.
15 HP. He got it calculated. He's like, you know what? You got to go back anyway. I'm not going to waste the time.
I've done the math.
Though.
Oh, man. Huni just picked up a kill for himself, but gets that taken away. And that's an assist and a kill going over to Lorlo. Dardoch.
And Immortals, the team that had been winning lanes all season long, a lot of that was the pressure off of Reignover.
Right.
Now it's being controlled. Dardoch aggressive. Huni is already dead twice in this game, and Pobelter is being pressured in this lane. Phoenix has kill pressure right now.
Yeah, he did blow his Ignite on that last trade, though. And I mean, there's fights all across the map happening right now. You can tell these guys are amped up. They're trying to make it happen. You know, fights across all three lanes. And here comes the mate's call.
Oh, no!
What a binding! Matt is a god. That was awesome.
We talk about how Cosmic Binding cheats a little bit.
Maybe a lot of it.
That was well played.
Good damage from Phoenix onto Reignover. And speaking of him, once again, we've kind of been sticking on him. Why not a little more? Players would always talk about how he was the one who would actually just stop you from doing things in game because he was in game. But seeing these last ones, we're seeing lanes do solo things as we are in this game. Lorlo going hard, other people going hard, because that fear isn't there anymore as much.
Exactly. It was a mental block. When I talked to a lot of players about Reignover, they said, he's Reignover, I can't do that to him. But now people are realizing what Svenskeren and Dardoch have been doing is going into the jungle, keep tabs on Reignover, and that makes the other lanes fall apart a little bit because they don't have that supportive jungler behind them.
Yeah, you know, Piglet also finishing up his Hurricane there, and I kind of like that because the team is so low on wave clear. I think it's just a nod to that. He's going to pick up some of the attack damage later, and I mean, if you do go Hurricane into the IE, you're obviously going to be a team fighting beast later on, but normally people do kind of pick up a BF or a pickaxe or some sort of AD before they build into this, but I just think that he's kind of maybe concerned about the siege potential of Immortals here. When you look at LeBlanc does not have safe wave clear, you know, Echo does not have that much wave clear.
Yeah, Graves and Echo are kind of
very
mild wave clear, but this is going to give them much safer. But I also think this is interesting because Wild Turtle did not answer with the same item. He answered with the Blade of the Rune King because he's going to get poked out by Piglet, so he wants to be able to at least sustain up afterwards. And I actually think the Runeance Hurricane build is kind of funny to me because this is the item that you always wanted to be good on Caitlyn, because you're like, I stand in a bush and attack twice, and I get headshot back immediately. And now it's the go-to item for this champion.
Good damage from Phoenix, trying to stave off whatever's about to happen in mid lane. You can see the team rotating in. Team Liquid knows Immortals wants this.
This is a siege, and this is why Piglet bought this item, you know, knowing that Immortals would want to group in siege, but he's going to be here late.
They're trying to clear the wave.
Dardoch's dropping the ult.
Much. They don't even have the Tempered Fate yet for Matt, so they can't really choose to stop that from going down. They're going to let it happen anyways. Mid should be theirs if they're able to group and do the same here in just a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the power of Immortals comp. But when you have, the Janna, the Azir, you have, good frontline that can kind of fish for initiation with looking for cocoons, and you can also obviously look for initiations with Gragas. So they have a very good group and siege comp, and this is exactly what Immortals is going to want to do. They're going to continue to do this, out-rotate, group, get a turret, get out.
Exactly. You're talking about the wave clear from TL not being very good. A lot of that is in the relative power that Immortals have. Azir, amazing wave clear, and it's an incredibly safe distance, too. He never has to put himself at risk to do that. And that's the problem here, is you have to find ways in onto this Azir, and Judge's cooldowns. Phoenix, though, is really low. That's rather risky. It's pretty ballsy to walk up there like that.
I think he was just trying to see if Pobelter would move a little bit too close and maybe try to get something done there. But Pobelter, a little bit too smart for that, going to be playing it safe, and has completed up his Abyssal, so some good power on him already.
Hooney's low on mana. This might be a kill.
Oh, nice step out of the parallel convergence. That actually may have saved his life, but Lorlo looks to go hard here. And without that stun connecting, he actually pulls off. Immortals is going to grab Dragon. And with a ward being placed forward by Adrian just a little bit ago, Turtle feels safe to go into the jungle. So first Dragon over to Immortals. They start to control the objectives in this game. Remember, Dardoch already got the Rift Herald, so it's kind of a back and forth at this point on the top and the bottom of the map. 15 minutes in, it's definitely a bigger goal lead here for Immortals as they start to spread that, but Liquid continues to close it before Immortals is able to widen it once again.
Yeah, and I mean, you can see all the refillable potions being picked up by Immortals here. This is just getting more and more common. The item is super efficient, and when you do resell it, you're not really losing much gold at all. You're losing like a potion's worth of gold when you do sell it later on. So people are just deciding, hey, it's super useful to have potions. I don't want to invest a lot of gold and constantly be buying up the biscuits. So they pick up a refillable, they use it until they need the item slot, and then they just sell it.
I'm liking that more and more. It's been happening a lot.
I think it's very smart.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly smart. In jungle, normally you get that item, and then the question is, do I get Hunter's Potion? Do I actually upgrade it? And now we're seeing them go into full combat stats immediately. And
okay.
Got the flash, yeah.
It's like Pobelter, easy save if he gets the Conquer Emperor's Divide out, so they don't decide to dive right in just yet.
Yeah, and Lorlo did blow his flash there as well, so a nice trade, Rainover with quick reaction to get out of there, but Lorlo doing pretty well for himself in the top lane, keeping it pretty close here with Hooney, and Phoenix going in on Pobelter.
Ooh, Rainover shows up just in time. If he hadn't have shown up, it could have possibly been a follow-up kill there. But Pobelter had his summoners. And once again, TL, they are on top of their Rift Heralds. They value this buff a lot. And I think a lot of that is because it goes to Dardoch.
Oh,
and as a jungler, you're just like, yeah, I need this. And I bet you if TL had Kindred, they'd be doing Dragon with the Devourer a lot too.
Well, he's 2-1-0, and they're basically even on CS right now as he clears that camp. So we've definitely seen good play coming from both junglers this time. Rainover really on the snowball my lanes, the 0-0-3.
So I'm waiting for the cull to actually cash over here from Piglet. And Wild Turtle is up 1,000 gold.
Flash forward from Phoenix, not able to get him though.
Right in the top as well. Quick draw over the wall. Hooney uses that a little early. Could have let him come closer. Lorlo may go all the way this time. He saves himself. The burn's going to be there, but he gets the passive heal. Out of the ability to use Hooney, keeping himself alive. And now Adrian and the team might be on the chase. It's a slow one, but it looks like with that Monsoon, they want to keep the connection. The Cosmic Bindings left and right from Matt.
Adrian just got absolutely deleted there. What a binding by Matt to turn that one around. It looked like Lorlo was completely gone once the tornado caught him, but Matt comes in nick of time, and Dardoch just wiped Adrian off the map.
Nick of time. It's been every time he needs to make a play with that Q. Whether it's his Janna or now his Bard, Matt's been ridiculous.
Yeah, Matt has been incredibly confident on these champions. The Bard, rightfully so. It's been kind of his one trick in solo queue. And Hooney almost goes down. Takes a drink there, makes sure that he doesn't. And you can see Matt's already heading up. Matt has been heading up this entire time. He's ready. They see Adrian over the ward, and he knows since the flash is down, no way to dodge this, and just throws it out there. And Dardoch actually soaks the cocoon for Lorlo. That he doesn't get hit by it. Really well played there. Bard, Matt, man, they're basically interchangeable at this point.
Ooh, Cocoon miss, quite a bit used here. Volatile Spider, a lot of long range damage, but not enough CC to hold Lorlo down. Yeah. Matt's going to be going out of Rome as well. He has not really been on their side of the map other than spawning. Every time he's up, he's across the river, and he's giving his team division.
Got to get those chimes.
Got to get those chimes, man. He's doing it well.
And TL's looking to get something done here in the mid lane, try to get some damage down on this turret. You can see Dardoch coming around from the side.
Tempered Fate.
Matt.
Looking to see how they're going to get out of this one. Adrian saves himself with a Storm Shield. Now they're on to Phoenix. He pulls back to the Mimic, and it looks like he could go down. There's no follow-up to come in yet. Turtle, Fate's call, but does Adrian go in? He's so low. He goes down instantly. How many are they going to trade, and was it worth? That's Huni that's going to fall now. Liquid starts to turn around, but Turtle says, I'm going to get a double. Looking for the triple and possibly a... A double coming in from Bouncer. Can he get 3? Looking for the full house on Phoenix, but he's going to get away.
Skewered like a shish kebab there. Phoenix gets away, but Pole Belter slides in and gets 2 with 1 Q. Ooh. And now Immortals get the inside track on mid. They get to take down this turret. It's practically paper to this composition.
Yeah, Phoenix almost popped Rainover just there, right on the side, but what a crazy fight. And the confidence from Immortals, Adrian going back in knowing he's giving up his life, but having confidence in his teammates to make it worth it.
See it again.
Yeah, Lorlo actually doesn't get to ultimate. He has ultimate up, but he doesn't get to use it in this fight. Adrian staying alive.
Yeah.
Matt goes off on the side. Phoenix, there's no ultimate here from Huni, so he can't actually just pop him off immediately. And then Turtle says, we're going in. Adrian, we're going to have to sacrifice you. Knocks into Dardoch, but he gets taken out. And then the follow-up there, Dardoch gets slaughtered. Lorlo's running around. He doesn't actually get to ultimate because he wasn't expecting that much damage in that small burst window there. And then everybody else just gets chased down, and boom!
Yeah, and really, a lot of that fight to me is just an overcommittal by Phoenix onto Adrian. It's like, yes, when he stayed in there, he actually lost about 80% of his HP to try to potentially take down the support from the other team. And at that point, the team fight was basically lost, but Rainover is in some trouble here, and so is Phoenix.
Turtle! Whoa!
Still slowed.
Turtle going hard. No, he knows Matt has to use that. The next Ren would have taken him down for at least another hit. Turtle is chasing, knowing he has the kill. Over the wall goes Huni, and there goes Phoenix.
Seems like TL is just a little bit desperate here. They're trying to make things happen just time after time after time, and Immortals has gotten a lead, and they are punishing them big time.
Yeah, and Immortals knew that play was 100% okay for them to do because Piglet was pushing top side. Piglet is doing what Piglet has done a whole bunch. He's been pushing side lanes. They give him so much farm. And right there, TL are trying to pick a fight because they think they have a numbers advantage. But Dardoch's on the top side, and you also have Piglet up there. So trying to get the assassination. Matt is playing his darndest on this.
Those Qs.
And,
yeah, I mean, it was well played by Matt, but Turtle had the confidence to go over because he knew Phoenix was chunked out.
Right.
Matt was low as well. Huni's coming from behind to support him. Rainover is coming as well. His team has just been faster on the collapse every single time, and it's allowing him to play aggressive. And Turtle is 4-0-1 on the back of that.
And although we saw Immortals get 3-0'd by TSM, you have to remember, this is the 17-1 team from the regular season.
With some of the best stats along that split that we've seen.
They are aggressive. They like to fight. They get back into the game by trusting each other and having these types of skirmishes where they will sacrifice one person for 4.
And you've got to say, looking at the score lines, Rainover has been everywhere this game. He's only missed out on a single kill. And as far as carry junglers go, he's building damage.
Gonna be the flash out. Summoner's down for Phoenix as Immortals knows they start to press that lead. They know they have control right now.
And you also look at Immortals and who's died on this team? Well, the tank and the support. So that's expected. You look where the kills are.
Absolutely.
You have 4 onto the Callista and you have 2 onto the Azir. This is exactly where you want your gold on the Immortals side.
Here comes the ult from Matt.
All right, that's
Turtle's
a disengage.
Alone.
Turtle needs that top mid and bottom lane member. No, he doesn't. He goes in by himself, knowing the cavalry is riding in right behind him. Now they're on to Lorlo. The chrono break is only to say, walk this way. The distraction splits Immortals, and it actually splits the power they have in this fight. They're going to pull back and now tempt Liquid with a Baron.
I mean, what are TL doing? Dardoch and Matt just went in on a solo mission by themselves. The rest of the team was nowhere to be found, and Immortals once again going to make them pay big, and this is a Callista ready to rend this Baron. We'll see if they can do anything.
I don't think they can. Adrian with the Monsoon to keep both Phoenix and Lorlo out of the pit. No chance of a steal.
Yeah, this is just super overambitious from TL. You could just, it's like you can smell the desperation on them. They're just trying to make play after play after play, and I don't think that they were this far behind. You know, look at Dardoch and Matt here. They're going to go in, but Lorlo is still quite a bit away. You have 2 members in the mid lane, and they're already fighting. All of Immortals is here. Once again, Immortals first to the fight. You see that the Hextrigger is going to pop on Turtle, and he's never in danger. He's totally fine.
That split, though, looks so scary for an AD carry.
Yeah.
The composition they have for him is the Gragas, the Azir, the Janna. You're like, you need to hover him. But Turtle just outplayed that completely.
And it would have been scary if the rest of the team was there, but this was just a support and the Graves. And this is a 4-kill Kalista who's going to out-duel the Graves, right? And,
crazy.
You know, Dardoch is trying to solo kill him, basically. The team was not there to follow up. They did not have the pieces in place to make that.
Exactly. And Wild Turtle already had 2-item spike here for Kalista. He got to it very quickly with the Cull, and he's actually up multiple gold here. And look at this. They're going to try. TL's going to try what threw Immortals off in the last game.
Oh, he gets him on the outside of the minion. That's a Turtle down. They crack the trap shell. Can they get any more? Pobelter gets locked up as well. There's enough to drop him, but it's 2 for Matt. A double kill for the Bard.
And just like in the TSM series, you camp a bush, Immortals walk too far forward, and they get punished.
That was the first game that Immortals had against TSM. They were on 7,000 gold, the exact same bush, the exact same scenario. 2 carries get caught, and TSM was able to turn around off that. We can't be the only ones thinking about this. Immortals has got to be a little bit shaken by that.
Oh, that hurts still. That's a 5-kill shutdown and 2-kill going to the support. Hopefully he does something good with all that cash money. 10 to 8, 25 minutes in, things are getting real rowdy here as 2 members of Immortal are down, and Team Liquid's getting pushed back in the mid lane, it seems here. They're trying to fight Huni. They should be able to get him after this real long fight. And now Liquid turns around that fight in the mid lane. Piglet's trying to make it happen with Matt, and here comes Phoenix again once he gets a little bit of HP. This turret should be able to drop, but Immortals...
Oh, what a binding! Oh my god!
No, there's the repel. He's gonna go down, so will the turret. Does Immortals get there too slow? Turtle very low. But Liquid, they are forced to back. They can't see past that vision.
And that Baron power play turned around by TL. Immortals, it looked so good for them, but now TL are back into this game, and they actually got it off of Immortals' tendency to push too far forward, to want to fight. And right there, Wild Turtle even tried to use heal to save Reignover, but it still looked like a situation where you wouldn't want to pull that move off.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, you know, after Turtle and Pobelter got caught in the bot lane, Huni's too far up. He gets caught. Then Reignover is trying to defend a turret that has about 1 hit of HP. He had no business being there. And Immortal's looking a little bit out of sorts, and TL is right back in it.
And I'm looking at these Dark Seals now. Lorlo just sold his. Phoenix upgraded his to a Magi's.
There it is.
He has no stacks, by the way. He's got 0 stacks.
I don't know about that one.
It's not cost effective if you do that, just so everybody knows.
He's counting on the pentakill in the next fight. That's going to give him the stacks. That's going to make it worth.
You got to go big.
Yep, got to go big or go home. It's playoffs.
I mean, Immortals had a game rubber banded back on them at a 7K gold advantage. TL, they're praying for the same type of play here. They're going to go towards this dragon, 20 seconds on it. It would be their first, but Immortals, this is a turret destroying team.
Yep.
You cannot leave this mid turret open.
We'll see. They try not to make the same mistake again. That was a negative Baron for them. Not something we've seen really throughout the season coming in for Immortals, around 1,200. So they're thinking safer, power in numbers. Huni has that teleport, so we can play kind of off the ball in that sense to see if we can bait Liquid into something they don't want. Hook, line, and sinker maybe right here. Pobelter over the wall to try and take 2 on. They stop Turtle. That may be the DPS they needed to shut down. Fate's call over the wall. That's going to be Liquid dropping to the ground as Immortals just pile on each other. Safety in numbers and also power. 13 to 11. They spread that gold lead to 4K.
Yeah. Huge fight from Immortals there. That's what they needed. They regroup. They stay together. This is what they've been doing right the whole game. You know, right up into that moment. They group. They get there first. They catch Piglet. They're able to chunk Piglet out of the fight. Huni comes in from the backside and is able to eliminate him, and that was the fight right there.
Exactly. Huni was way quicker on his TP than Lorlo was, and Lorlo's was in the river, so he had to walk all the way up and didn't even get a flank. He was just joining the fight, whereas Huni's was a perfect angle, and that's going to be the inhibitor here for Immortals. 28 minutes in. It's back and forth series. You can see Piglet a little too far forward. He saw Reignover, and he just eats a cocoon to the face. The exhaust is going to do too much to Piglet, but then right there, Pobelter locked up. ultimate onto Wild Turtle, and Huni's already here. Huni's already thrown out all of his abilities, and then Lorlo shows up. It's a little bit too late there to try and actually get something out of this.
Yeah,
TL gets scattered.
When you have a comp like Liquid, so much is riding on Piglet because he's their consistent DPS. You have an assassin in the mid lane. He's not going to be deleting these tanks. The only way you have to kill the front line is Piglet. He has to stay alive. He has to put out damage.
And once again, though, TL actually make it to the dragon first. Trap line is set up, so they have to walk all the way around instead of eating it. And that's going to be the first dragon there, but they still want to fight. Huni's on Piglet!
Oh, the flash body into Piglet. One more hit, he goes down. That's going to be the burn. Dardoch gets thrown back. Eyes are on Lorlo as Immortals tries to assess what their damage dealer is. And it looks like they're going to focus out of this fight, knowing they have the aggression. Mid lane is open, so they're going to start pushing the others.
Yeah, Immortals are trying to assess who the damage dealer is. Well, TL's like, well, Piglet's dead.
Yep.
Where our damage is gone. Phoenix, like you said, Azael, the assassin, he's not going to be doing that much damage to this squad, and you can see they have magic resistance on everybody.
Yeah.
All 4 members.
And Huni, you know, he sees the opportunity, gets the flash body slam. He's able to all Piglet back into that. This is it. That's the end of the fight.
Oh,
you know,
man.
Without Piglet, there's nothing that they can do.
So Wild Turtle got Bard ultied as he was winding up his Callista attack, and it still flew, and it was a crit for 300. So right at the edge there. And Callista, you know, you can't really interrupt her auto attacks unless you go out of range. You can't stop that windup.
And I mean, at this point for TL, so much is kind of like, it becomes so difficult for Phoenix, right? Immortals is grouping, they're playing very, very safe, they're playing 5-man gaming. And Phoenix has got to zero someone out. He has to eliminate, you know, someone like Wild Turtle, but he has a Ma. How do you kill him?
Yeah.
You know, he has to kill someone like Pole Belter, but he has the Abyssal. They have Janna supporting them. You know, how do you kill these guys, and who do you target?
Difficult.
And this is exactly what happened when Immortals ended up playing Cloud9 during the regular season.
Yeah.
It was that game that Sneaky pulled out Jhin, and Wild Turtle built this exact build on Callista, and he went double lifesteal. When you have double lifesteal Ma, LeBlanc does nothing to you.
Yeah.
And you end up getting all of your HP back. If she even wants to kill you, you get more lifesteal. So it ends up being this build where how do you deal with this Callista who is still doing the same amount of damage as she would be doing as a normal build Callista?
Yep, and I mean...
This is the normal build now, actually.
Yeah, and he almost has that Bloodthirster completed. You know, Piglet getting pretty strong himself, and so much is riding on his shoulders. He's a confident player. You know, he's a world champion. Definitely has the ability to carry these fights, but he's got to do it. He's going to have to be able to react and flash Huni's body slam. He's going to have to flash these ults. He has to stay safe, and he has to be the one to kill the front line. But this is the kind of guy who wants that pressure. You know, he wants all the resources funneled to him because he knows he can do it.
Oh, and the team has full confidence in him. They never hesitate to say, we're playing around Piglet. Piglet can carry us. They have full confidence in him. It's just like Matt went on an interview and said, I never think about how Dardoch is going to misplay and think in my mind, oh, if he doesn't hit this, then we lose. It's never even a thought for this man.
Immortals back to the Baron, though, and those spears are going to be stacking quick.
It's going to be very hard.
Oh, it didn't hit Baron.
At all possible. It just missed, and they were actually right on the outside. You can see that it did affect on that ward. I don't know if this is going to be good for TL. They need to get out. Very low mana on Piglet, so he doesn't have really any disengage for himself. Only auto attacks. That's going to be 2 down. Dardoch and Phoenix fall. Reignover's the only one now for Immortals as Huni picks up another kill. And there goes the DPS on the side of Liquid. Once again, it's Lorlo, the only one that can run away from the fight.
And just like that, Baron buff is up. They have a wave. This has got to be the game here for Immortals. They're looking to pick up game number 1 over TL in this best of 5.
Absolutely strong. Coming out of the pick and ban phase, the Italy ban, the Azir take, and then with that blind pick, they went through the rest of the composition and really protected Turtle. Played well all around the map. And coming into the 3rd place match, Immortals making a very good case for themselves to take that spot.
Yep, 17-1 in the regular season. You know, they got swept, but we were talking, how's their mental state? And it looks damn good. They were on point. You know, they had that one brief lapse after they got the Baron. A couple guys got caught, but they rotated faster every single time. They were always grouped. They're in the right place, taking objectives, playing to win conditions, and fantastic initiations from Huni. You know, he was always to the fight fast. He was finding Piglet in every fight. And this is a champion that really fit for Huni. Yes, it's a tank, but he was making plays. He was winning fights, and that's the Huni that we know and love.
So one of the things I was going to say is, guys, they did it. They changed. They went back. Well, I wouldn't say they changed. They went back to things that are comfortable and still fit. but it's still definitely in that radar of what Huni is really good at.
Exactly. It's still a playmaker, and Huni...
Exactly.
It's something that you have to keep in your mind, because we did see Immortals get 3-0'd. You can't immediately go, oh, this team is not the team that was 17-1 in the regular season.
Right.
They still have the teamwork and synergy. They still have the mechanics behind what they were doing before, so you know these TPs are going to come through very early. The communication is exactly the same. So when they start getting their draft in order and they draft something like this and they take their enemy off guard, then this is the type of result that you would expect with Immortals. The Azir coming out first pick is not something you would have expected, considering they had banned it in their last 5 games, showing that they did not want to pick this champion, even if it was blue side or red side. It did not matter. If you played Azir, they were going to ban it out versus you, and I think TL expected that.
And I mean, that goes to show they did not waste their time preparing. Immortals looked very ready. They had a game plan. I think that the Azir pick was fantastic. That's something that, you know, TL's going to have to adapt to, because TL had the counter pick, right? They were the ones who got to select what they want to play. This is a blind pick Azir. They have the LeBlanc. You know, where was the LeBlanc this game? Phoenix was able to get almost nothing done. And I mean, it's a lot of that is due to how well Immortals played and how well they grouped, but still, you know, we got to see more from Phoenix if he's going to be taking that counter pick.
Absolutely. Definitely. Maybe some different build paths as we go into the new games. Now, for more on that Immortals win, we are going to check in with Dash and the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Riv. Immortals going to be feeling good coming out with a win in the playoffs now, since they got 3-0'd by TSM.
Yeah.
But I want to touch on a lot of what we hit on in the pregame, the meta, and how Immortals is dealing with that situation. So I'm coming to you, Freak. Walk me through Champion Select.
Yeah, so a lot of good adaptations here by Immortals. Some things didn't change. They still had to ban away Kindred. They even blue side banned Nidalee, which was more just a plan of getting the Azir first pick in. So, hey, here's an adaptation. They learned Azir. Here's an adaptation. They're willing to play tank lane, tank top laners. They're still not willing to put Kindred in there, but that's okay. They still found a workable composition, and seeing Kindred blue side ban is not exactly a problem.
Yeah, the thing is with that, you banned 2 of the top tier carry junglers, but Graves is still up. Dardoch very happy to play that Graves.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do something that's pretty rare here, but I actually like the draft of the losing team. I like the Team Liquid team comp that they were able to put together here. Because if you look at Immortals, Immortals have very, very heavy magic damage. And Wild Turtle is going to be the Kalista, the only attack damage real threat here, which actually takes a little bit of time to stack up. So the plan for Team Liquid is to have this LeBlanc be a huge threat on Turtle, so that Turtle can't get in there and be the attack damage threat, because LeBlanc has huge burst potential there. And so all the members you see Team Liquid, they build magic resist all game long. The early game, they stack on it heavily. But then there's this one play in the mid game where they go for this tower dive. LeBlanc gets chunked out. She's no longer there to keep Turtle away, and Turtle absolutely tears them apart. So I think it was more of an execution error here from Team Liquid. I actually liked what their team comp was and what their strategy was that they built for it in game as well.
And we'll come back to that fight, and I'll let you walk us through it. But first, I want to come to Jap, because I want to talk about how this game developed through the early stages of the game. Immortals dodging the lanes, the 2v2.
Yeah.
We saw an early lane swap, but then we saw some pretty early jittery mistakes out of both teams, to be honest.
I agree with that. I mean, the synergy of Huni and Reignover taking over the early game is theoretically what got them mostly to 17-1, and it wasn't quite there. Lorlo and Dardoch were winning the early game, especially when Huni body slammed away when trying to escape a gank. But then the jitters continued when they fought in the side of the red buff, and all 3 Team Liquid rookies died in that jungle fight, and some poor decisions by Lorlo throughout. So I think this was a game for the teams to kind of get settled and also know that it's a new ball game with Huni willing to pick a tank.
Yeah, I really like that point, because you could tell that they were a little bit uncomfortable on that duo. Reignover had not bought, and they shoved all the way to the tier 2 turret. And Dardoch, you could see, he was waiting in the brush, ready to take that 2 versus 2. Him and Lorlo are very confident. They play so much together.
Yeah.
And them getting the first blood was a big eye-opener.
A really huge deal. And the funny thing is, though, you still saw the skill mismatch happen. Like, even though this Echo gets first blood, gets to take 2 waves, gets to be, in full power, waiting for the Gragas to come back, Huni still goes up like 50 CS by the end of the whole thing. Like, the individual skill, you're still seeing it pay out even after getting ganked, even after getting messed with. Like, that's a really, really big deal.
Huni's flanks and late game Gragas ultimates were really clean.
I mean, they were huge.
He definitely stepped up. Now I want to return to that 19-minute replay that you were talking about, Kobe, the 4 for 2 in the mid lane, because up till this point, it looked like Team Liquid was kind of building their confidence. Even with a couple stumbles, these guys looked and were building like they were going to take over this game. This is where things turn. So as this pulls up on your screen, I'm going to have Kobe walk us through how these compositions affected this team fight.
So here it is. This is the big threat here, is Phoenix Phoenix goes in for the dive. He wants to pop Adrian so badly, but Adrian with a good ultimate, he's able to get out of the second half of that damage. Now with Phoenix getting chunked so low, they actually even get the heal summoner spell there from Piglet, and they have to fully run away. So now you see Wild Turtle right into the rest of the team, and everybody's built magic resist, so Turtle is ripping them to shreds, and the rest of Immortals can chase. After that was so much gold into Turtle's pocket that we also saw him later take the 1 versus 2. Pobelter also there with a very nice Shurima slide right up through the jungle to pick up the extra kills. So the backline carries that we talked about being such consistent damage dealers for Team Liquid, actually the backline from Immortals here was the backbone of the game.
I have to give a big call out for Wild Turtle, too, against the Bard specifically. For as great as Matt's Bard was that game, Turtle did a very good job of not getting stunned by the Bard Qs when it was going to be fatal. Like, he was very elusive on that Callista.
And this is where, Freak, I want to talk about, or I want to approach the idea of being cautiously optimistic for Immortals here. Because they did show us some stuff. They did come away with the victory. But we saw a lot of the same mistakes that plagued them in Game 1 against TSM. We saw a Baron take into a
that
split
tilted us
push
so hard.
into
The death
across
rush.
the map. I mean, like,
the same death
what are you
rush.
doing?
But they recovered this game, okay?
They did, but I want to get Freak. I want to get Freak
when you
in here.
first see that, you're super worried. They're going to be, oh my God, they're going to fully tilt after
That's the
that.
thing, right. It was the exact same game 1 as against TSM. 20-something minutes, they get a Baron after it, almost ace, this same brush, and then 3 more people die.
Yeah.
Hooney's alone on the top lane, gets killed, Rainover solo defends the mid lane, outer turret. Like, these are all objectively mistakes that Immortals are making by just not realizing, guys, you're freaking behind. Like, most of why Immortals is good is they're all willing to go in and fight, but when half the team is actually dead, they're actually not able to.
Just back away.
Revive got removed from the game several years ago. This is no longer possible for you guys. Please.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to adapt to patches very quickly, but it's been a couple years now. So I think those were some very major mistakes. But yes, they came back in. They were willing to jump into the team fights, and it was the 5-on-5 team fights themselves that got Immortals the victory.
Yeah, all said and done. A game not without mistakes, but an exciting one to say the least. And Immortals have taken a lead in this first place match. But stick around to see if Liquid can tie up the series in Game 2. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Being a little nervous is fine. It's going to make you play better. Focus on the game and let it flow, okay? Don't try to control your state too much. Like, feel the energy and make sure you're in control.
Lorlo, very tanky in this one with the chrono break, but he cannot stay long enough. That's going to be Matt possible.
Right ultimate from Hootie!
From Rainover.
Focus. Get it. Echo. Get it.
LeBlanc has seen it. Looking for the triple and possibly a... Oh! A double coming in from Belter.
On Callista. Nice. We got Callista. It's here after. Janna has no ult. No Janna. We got him.
That's going to be 2 down. Dardoch and Phoenix fall. Rainover's the only one now for Immortals as Hootie picks up another kill. So Immortals making a very good case for themselves to take that spot.
Hey guys, Jat here with Teamfight Breakdown. In this series, I review one major teamfight that happened in the last week of Pro Play. Check out our latest episodes on YouTube and tweet hashtag TFBD if you see a great teamfight you want us to break down. And this is where things get really crazy. Wild Turtle's Jhin would have killed Haunter's Maokai here with an auto attack, except at the perfect time, Haunter goes untargetable with Twisted Advance, dodging the attack.